an hour, but a cold start, 7 degrees. Lots of sunshine, a few more clouds billowing up into the sky, 18 by noon, and then we'll see southeast winds running at about 10 to 15 miles an hour, and temperatures up around 30 degrees by 5 o'clock. We'll take a look at some wind gusts here during the daytime today, where some places are up around 65 miles per hour. I'll take a look at tomorrow's forecast in through the next several days as well. Tammy?
I know, it has been quite a day. Thanks, Mark. And it is hard to believe that 24 hours ago, temperatures were in the 60s. Today, eastern Iowans were fighting bitterly cold winds and blowing snow. Heavy winds also caused some power outages and false alarms all day. Police in Hiawatha say they had 15 false burglary alarms, I should say, caused by the wind blowing doors open. And the winds are dying down in Dubuque a little bit, at least tonight. The day kicked off with a mixture of freezing rain, snow, and fog. Blistering winds made for blizzard-like conditions.
It was so balmy last night, and then today it's just like winter's here.
And Dubuque police have been busy with some minor accident calls. Dubuque and several surrounding counties have received complaints of flickering cable TV and power. Investigators in Chicago say they think the high winds caused scaffolding to fall from the John Hancock Center today. That killed 3 people on the ground. They were in their cars when the scaffolding fell and crushed them. The equipment dangled from the skyscraper as rescue crews tried to get to other people who were still trapped in their cars. They were injured, but those two women I should say, that you saw were rescued. Parents and teachers say it's just too little, too late. They're talking about a letter sent out this week to clear up any misunderstanding about an idea to close Northern University High. Here's what the NU High letter means to you. Education Dean Tom Schweitzer says the university sent the letter as a clarification. In the letter, he says he regrets the university gave the impression a decision had been made about closing the upper grades at NU High, and he says the idea is still on the table, but it is just an idea. Parents say they're still upset.
This states nothing new to me. It possibly can state a few things new to parents that aren't as involved in this, as far as trying to believe that they're really doing what's best for the College of Education and UNI.
Schweitzer says the school has not made any decisions and committees are still looking at options. A man arrested in Cedar Rapids on a federal terrorism investigation is charged with Social Security card conspiracy now. Joseph Mimsa is now accused with providing false information to get a Social Security number. He faces 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. He will also go to trial in Michigan on charges of fraud and misuse of visas, permits, and other documents. In the Middle East, Israel is retaliating tonight for another deadly suicide bombing. Israeli helicopters have fired on Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat's offices. Missiles destroyed the offices. The attack happened hours after another suicide bomber hit in Jerusalem. 12 people were killed, and just before that, a gunman opened fire and killed a 9-month-old Israeli girl. In Afghanistan, American troops are trying to smoke out Taliban fighters in a complicated mission. Here's the latest as America strikes back. Operation Anaconda is starting its 2nd week now. Troops are trying to get the Taliban fighters who are hiding in caves. Also, the U.S. Defense Secretary is backing off his claim that the operation could be over by this weekend. And leaders in Afghanistan want to hold hearings on human rights violations in that country through 20 years of war. It's been nearly now 7 years since an anchor woman disappeared in Mason City. And tonight, a new development in the Jody Huisentruit case, which has baffled investigators for so long. That's next on Iowa's News Channel.
This is KWWL, Iowa's News Channel, with Tammy Winesek, Storm Team 7 meteorologist Mark Schnackenberg, and sports with Paul Burmeister. You're watching the KWWL News at 10. Coverage you can count on.
It's a missing persons case Iowans have been talking about for years. Former Mason City television anchor Jody Huisentruit disappeared in 1995. Since then, investigators have followed up on hundreds of tips. They followed up on one just this past week. Authorities had hoped it was their final missing link. Joe Surma explains.
It's been nearly 7 years since Jody Huisentruit turned up missing. The latest on her whereabouts comes from the Des Moines Register. The paper received an email from a Delaware man saying hunters had discovered skeletal remains in a secluded area near South Bend, Indiana, 5 years ago. The man says the information came from an internet site, and he saw similarities between the two cases. Investigators in Iowa and Indiana learned about the possible link after the Register asked them about the email. Authorities cautioned the Register and KWWL in the past that there have been dozens of false leads in the case, and identification may not be possible until dental records are compared. Late today, authorities say dental records confirmed yet another dead end. Mason City and Indiana investigators say the remains generally matched Huisentruit except hair color. But without her body found or a suspect, her case lives on. Joe Surma, Iowa's News Channel.
Last year, a judge declared Jody Huisentruit legally dead so the family could settle her estate. With today's weather, it's hard to believe spring is less than 2 weeks away. Will it begin to feel more like that soon? Storm Team 7 meteorologist Mark Schnackenberg is in next with the forecast. Stay with Iowa's News Channel.
From Storm Team 7 and live triple Doppler radar, this is Eastern Iowa's most accurate forecast. Weather coverage you can count on.
Boy, what a change of seasons we've had just in the last 18 hours across the region. Last night at this time we're talking temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Now, a whole different story. Let's take a look at some of those numbers. A live shot from the Cedar Rapids Skycam where it's 19 degrees, 17 degrees right now in Waterloo. That is now the low for the day. 18 in Dubuque, 21 currently in Iowa City. Take a look at the wind chill out there. Factor in the wind that we do have, and the wind chills are down into, well, down way below zero. Single digits, teens, and 20s below zero, and the wind gusts are up there as well with the wind running out of the west-northwest at 15 to 25, even gusting to around 30 miles per hour in some spots. Looking at 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts in Decorah, 33 in Waterloo, still up around 45 in Dubuque. This will be the last area that will see the wind start to diminish. The further west you live, the winds will lighten up first, then as the storm system moves away, the winds will lighten up in the eastern counties. As for the winds right now, looking at the strongest winds off towards our east, and the winds are coming generally from the west and northwest, and notice the winds are starting to lighten up. This shaded area, that's where the strongest winds are, and some of the wind gusts in those areas are generally anywhere from 25 to as much as 45 miles per hour. Notice the winds out to the west are fairly light. Take a look at some conditions. Live on the weather net, Cedar Rapids, Washington High School, 17 degrees, peak wind gust 50 miles an hour. Dyke Elementary School, current temperature is 10 degrees, peak wind gust 46. Denver Community School, 14, peak wind gust there was 56 degrees. And at Fenimore, the community school, 11 degrees. Your current temperature, 45, was your peak wind gusts. As for our peak wind gust in and around here, Waterloo had a peak wind gust of 60 miles per hour. Can you imagine that? A lot of wind out there. And temperatures are much colder. We're looking at the temperatures about 20 to as much as 40 degrees colder with those front coming on through and those north and northwest winds. Out to the west, there's a warming trend out there. That's coming in our direction. Let's take a look at live shot from the Waterloo Skycam. Things are fairly quiet out there. The live shot. Clear skies, a quarter of an inch of liquid precipitation. 56 degrees was the high officially at midnight. Looking at Dubuque, 56. Again, these were all early this morning. 59 in Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, 62. And again, we're looking all at current readings, generally the daytime lows. As for precipitation, anywhere from ½ inch of liquid to as much as a trace of snow or a tenth of an inch of snow around the area. Some colder air moved on in, changed some of that rain over to some snow. And again, wide variations in the high temperatures depending on when the weather watchers reported in those readings. As for the current readings right now, 10 degrees Minneapolis, 33 in St. Louis, 6 right now currently in Pierre. Doing any traveling, normal winter driving conditions in eastern Iowa, gets a little more slick as you head to the north and northwest. As for current weather map, there's the departing area of low pressure sliding to the north and east, area of high pressure now down to the south. The winds will eventually shift to the south and west as we head through the daytime tomorrow. Looking at clearing skies across the area, no precipitation. Storm Team 7 live triple Doppler radar, a dry evening out. As for tomorrow morning, we do have that area of high pressure still down to our south that'll continue to slide towards the east. And again, the winds will eventually shift from the warmer direction, and that means better conditions here for tomorrow. So details on our forecast shape up like this here as we head through the overnight hours. We're looking at Temperatures down around in the single digits, and the northwest wind lightening up around 10 to 25 miles an hour with a clear sky overhead. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow, and again, winds only 10 to 15 miles an hour, not as strong as it was today, and a little bit warmer as well. As for tomorrow night, increasing cloudiness, 19 to 24 for the overnight lows, and 7-day outlook includes a chance for rain or snow on Monday. And again, looking at a bigger storm system potentially by the end of the week with highs in the 30s and 40s, overnight lows down into the 20s. So a cold night tonight. The winds, though, will be diminishing, so some good news there.
Thanks a lot, Mark. KWWL is starting a new segment, and we want you to get involved. It's called You Ask, We Answer. If you have a question, something you want investigated, or you're just curious about something, let us know. You can email us at newsroom@kwwl.com, or you can call us at 319-291-1296. Coming up in sports, more from the Iowa Hawkeyes' great day in Indianapolis, and highlights from the girls' state basketball tournament in Des Moines, next on Iowa's News Channel.
Win the 2A championship.
The Indiana fans really gave Luke Recker a hard time.
And it worked in Bloomington. He really got off his game, but today it just really seemed to light him up in the second half. For the 7th time in a row, the Iowa Hawkeyes won their Big Ten tournament game today, and for the 2nd day in a row, Luke Recker was the last-second hero. Recker came alive in the second half. After a subpar first half, he scored 4 straight points to give Iowa a 1-point lead with 10 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. This putback made it 41-40 black and gold. Recker and the Hawks then cooled off while the Hoosiers heated up. An 11-2 run gave IU their biggest lead of the game at 51-43. Iowa then waited until the 5-minute mark to begin their final climb. Recker's long three made it a 5-point game. Then another pair of seniors hooked up to cut the lead to 2, Evans to Henderson, and it was 56-54. Hoosiers took the lead at the free throw line before Recker stepped behind the line to tie it. And you want some hustle out of Luke? Here he comes up with a loose ball and gets the timeout with just 12 seconds left. And that, of course, set the stage for another hero's finish. Can you believe it? Another game winner to keep the Hawkeye hopes alive.
It was euphoric, you know. It was the best feeling I've had playing basketball. I just ran and jumped up on the table, looked for my mom, looked for my family, I looked for my fiance, and it was a great feeling.
Well, we wanted the last shot. I don't know if we wanted it that close, but and the way things were going, the last thing I wanted to do was check monitors. So, but I think I saw the clock, so I was pretty confident that it was good. And
didn't have any doubt, but I tried to get myself into position for a tip, but luckily there was no tip needed. I mean, he just came through and made a big-time shot with a couple of defenders hanging all over.
I like, man, just get the game over with. I was exhausted. I was so tired. It was ridiculous. But it just went in. I was loving it.
The table is now set for Championship Sunday at the Big Ten tourney. Iowa will play Ohio State at 2:30. Our Rick Coleman is on his way to Indy. Rick will have complete post-game coverage on tomorrow night's show at 10, as well as Sports Plus. After 5 days in Des Moines, only 2 games remained at the high school girls state basketball tournament, the Class 2A and 3A championship games. We'll start with 2A, Mid-Prairie and Colonesco. Third quarter, Hawks down by 2. Actually, we're looking here right now at Cedar Rapids Xavier. Xavier had a tough time today against top-ranked Perry. Perry jumped out to a 15-2 lead. They led by 13 at halftime. More Perry in the second half. Here we go. Now we have Mid-Prairie. Mid-Prairie was the team today in Eastern Iowa. They came out against Colonesco. That was Tara Berg. Back and forth, Mid-Prairie up by 1. All-tournament captain Morgan Nelson makes a great cut to give them the lead. Fourth quarter now, Sarah Larson forces the steal. Does a great job to keep the dribble alive. Great concentration. She goes untouched coast to coast for the layup. 45-44 Mid-Prairie. 10 seconds to go, tied at 49. Allie Hartzler can't find anywhere to go, so she kicks it to Jessie Kleinschmidt. She drains the 8-footer for the game winner. Mid-Prairie Class 2A state champions with a 51-49 win over Colonesco. This is now Cedar Rapids Xavier, who struggled today against top-ranked Perry. Couldn't find the basket in the first few minutes of the game as Perry raced out to a 15-2 lead. They held a 28-15 halftime advantage. There was more Perry in the second half, and they rolled to the Class 3A championship 54-32. Well, Steve Alford's squad wasn't the only Iowa team making some noise today. And all the wrestlers, Iowa wrestling team advanced 8 of 10 to the semifinals at the Big Ten tournament. 5 of them will wrestle tomorrow for the right to call themselves Big Ten champs. Eustace, Moffitt, Zadok, Nix, and Mako all won their semifinal rounds tonight. final scheduled for 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Iowa State has 3 Big 12 champs, Holker, Heskett, Sanderson, who's now 154-0. They're all going, and 8 UNI wrestlers qualified for nationals at the West Regional. Mark Manchio, Cal Hansen, Dylan Long, Nate Lawrence, John Garvin, Jason Payne, Nick Wan, and heavyweight Paul Henick. They're all headed for the national tournament.
Thanks a lot, Paul.
Yes.
We'll hope for the Hawks tomorrow.
We sure will.
Okay, thanks. Well, it certainly felt more like winter today, but what will the rest of the weekend hold? Mark Schnackenberg will be in next with the final look at the forecast.
Look for some sunshine here tomorrow, lighter winds, which I think we all will like, and we're looking at temperatures to top out near 30 degrees or so, but it'll be a cold start tomorrow morning. We won't have to worry about those winds up around 50 and 60 miles per hour.
That's something.
Just about 10 to 15 miles an hour.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Okay. Thanks for joining us for the KWWL News at 10. We'll see you back here tomorrow. In the meantime, have a very good night.